Looking to stay informed about South Korea's fast-evolving political, business and cultural landscape? Join us on Korea Pro, the go-to resource for in-depth analysis expertly curated by top-tier professionals. And now you can pick the membership level that best suits your needs, thanks to our new subscription packages. Starting at just $199 annually, you can access daily analysis and our weekly podcast. Or try our premium membership package, which offers additional perks such as executive briefings, monthly reports and forecasts, networking receptions and event opportunities, as well as much, much more. To find the best fit for you, just head to signup.koreapro.org and become a member today.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the NK News Podcast. I'm your host, Jacco Zwetsloot, and this episode was recorded on the evening of Monday, the 7th of April, 2025, on StreamYard, and I'm joined on StreamYard by my colleague at NK News and NK Pro, Colin Zwirko. Colin, welcome.
Hello, Jacco.
Hello. So what story would you like to start with this week?
Well, I guess we can talk about the marathon if you want. It's something I know you know a lot about as well.
Yes, the Pyongyang Marathon, I think you mean, not the Seoul Marathon, although both were held on the same day. That happened yesterday for the first time since April 2019 when I was there. So, it's been, 6 years now.
I had no idea that they overlapped. I had no idea. It's crazy. I know more about the Pyongyang Marathon than the one in the city I'm
peninsula,
living.
2 capitals, 2 marathons. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the Pyongyang Marathon.
Well, that means that people had to choose which one they would go to. That's kind of interesting. The real serious runners that collect marathons, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
So this, like you said, this was the first one since 2019 in Pyongyang. It's a bit odd of a situation. Like, I would say that the first thing to think about is that this isn't a huge indicator on the tourism front. So this is kind of an isolated incident. So I think it's interesting for a lot of reasons, but it's kind of strange how people, and there wasn't a whole lot being talked about this before it happened. Unless you were really keenly tuned into this, then you probably weren't aware that it was even going to happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty or even skepticism about whether it would go ahead, right?
Yeah, but everyone arrived in Pyongyang. They flew there. I'm still I don't know the details on what kind of flights everyone was on, but so the story written by our colleague Shreyas Reddy today on the NK News website says that there were 500 people from abroad participating, and that includes 200 amateur runners, and then the rest being so-called elite athletes who are trying to win the race, right? And so in the past, these amateur runners would be and maybe you've experienced this and you can maybe chime in, but they would be typically tourists who want to take advantage of a leisurely maybe walk through the city to look around and maybe interact with North Koreans if they can, and things like that. So did you participate in the marathon itself ever, like walking through the city? Or
I'm not a marathon runner or even a runner, but I did successfully walk 10 kilometers in 90 minutes through Pyongyang, and that was fun. So I agree that there's a lot of people, a lot of the amateur folks who were on the marathon really just to get a sense of the city at ground level, looking at people and looking into buildings and shops.
Yeah.
But there are also some who were there to run seriously, and they really did exert themselves. I remember one guy who had exerted himself so much without proper training that he lost all of his breakfast after the race there, and was really not in a good way for many hours afterwards.
Yeah. I think that's like the only way you can walk that much in Pyongyang.
Yeah.
Right. There's no other way you can go on such a long walk. Usually you're busing from place to place, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that is precisely why I was interested in doing the 10K walk, because if you're running, you don't get to kind of slow down and see things at a human level. But walking, you certainly do, and you
Right.
get to occasionally have micro interactions with the crowd who are standing by the roadsides. You get to say hello to them in Korean or shout a slogan or something like that, and it's fun.
Yeah. And so, did you have any opportunity to go this time or not?
No, I'm not sure if and when I'll be going to North Korea again for the foreseeable future. So no, I did not sign up for this particular tour.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. So, according to the results, the North Koreans won pretty much all the marathons that mattered, and then yet we had a runners from Ethiopia,
Mm,
and the DPRK secured the silver and the bronze in the men's marathon, according to the story today. But the North Koreans won both the men's and the women's main marathon, apparently. So we've got images here of people filling Kim Il Sung Stadium, very
right.
much to the T in terms of how these have gone in the past. So there's just a 6 year hiatus,
Hmm.
and then boom, you're back to normal pretty much.
Yeah.
And like what I said earlier is there's no indication that this is like the start of widespread tourism, and
Yeah.
there's still a lot of uncertainty about what North Korea wants, what they don't
Mm,
want in terms of exposure of the country to the outside world. So it's quite interesting, and I think there's still a lot left to dig in on this strange little anomaly of
yeah.
200, hundreds of foreigners from various countries coming in, and then they're going to leave, and then North Korea is going to be back to being pretty isolated. So
Yeah, in a way, it might feel, if that is the case, it might feel a little bit like a small scale reproduction of the 1989 13th World Festival of Youth and Students, when you had
yes.
8,000 young people descending on Pyongyang for 8 days, and then they were gone, and the city went back to being basically closed off to international visitors, except for the occasional diplomat. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see in the coming days and weeks, Colin, whether any of the runners were able to take a GoPro out there and get some actual footage of Pyongyang at street level, and to see what gets uploaded to social media.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely watch this space, right? There's going to be.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy the long form videos that some Russian tourists have uploaded since
Yes.
tourism opened in the last couple of years. If anyone, I'm hoping someone will upload a full video of the entire marathon at walking pace, so I can just kind of look around the
Ah.
streets.
Well, now don't you can't do what is the full marathon's what about 42 kilometers, and you can't do that at walking speed, because as I recall when I was there 6 years ago, that they have a cutoff, and after X number of hours, I think it's 4 hours or whatever it is, they just start sweeping up
Well, that makes
slow
sense.
runners and bring them back.
It would take everyone would be there forever if you're allowed to walk the
Yeah.
full. I guess I mean just the 10K or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Now, our friends over at Cordial Tours have already added some photographs, some still images from the stadium and from outside the stadium that you can find on their social medias on Instagram and whatnot. And I think they saw the usual outside in front of the stadium. They have a lot of food and beverage stalls where people can stop by for a snack. Mostly the North Koreans who are there to watch the marathon and the football match that usually happens while the marathon runners are away. But they also have
Right.
a stall that sells lottery tickets for the Kim Il Sung Birthday Memorial Lottery. So I think
All
that was
right.
there again this year.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, so that's our first story. Where would you like to go next, Colin?
Well, I mean, we could talk about the latest news coming out of North Korea on the military and leadership front, I suppose. So on Saturday, North Korean state media reported that Kim Jong Un watched a special forces military training on the previous day on Friday. What else happened on Friday, Jacko?
Well, there was the impeachment ruling here in South Korea. Actually, I did a special episode Friday afternoon with Colin, with Shreyas and with Chris Green, our special guest, but we weren't able to cover the or mention the coverage that at that stage had not yet come out in North Korean state media. Are you
Right.
able to tell us what North Korean state media said about the impeachment ruling?
Yeah. So two things. The impeachment ruling was made just before 11:30 a.m. on
Yeah.
Friday in South Korea. Pretty on edge for while the judge read out his ruling for about 20 minutes before he.
Yes.
But anyway, the result is that the now former president Yoon Suk-yeol was his impeachment was confirmed. So Fast forward to the next morning in
Hmm.
Korea, in Korean time at around 6 a.m., the North Korean state newspaper Rodong Shinmun reported a very simple factual report that about the ruling. So
Yeah.
this follows their pattern over the last year, or since martial law. I forget the details on exactly how quick that initial martial law report was,
Mm.
but since the impeachment, it's been quick, not too opinionated, a little bit. It's got an air of condescension, and but anyway, it's that was towards the back of the newspaper, but on the front page of the
Ah.
newspaper on Saturday, Kim Jong Un was attending a special forces drill. So yes, the
Ah.
report said he was at the drill on the 4th, which was on April 4th, which was the date of the impeachment. And then so the report does not say where this took place, but I recognized where it took place because I
Ah.
located this last time he was there last September. So the pictures matched the place where he was the last time I located the pictures, basically. So
Okay.
this was at Koksan, which is about 60 kilometers, or what is that, like 37 miles from the border, from the South Korean border.
Ah.
And judging the shadows, was able to figure out what time he was there.
Colin is
So
our
he
eye
was,
in the sky, ladies and gentlemen. He is expert at spotting things.
so yeah, so he was there watching drills simulating attacks on South Korea with posters in the
Mm.
background saying South Koreans are not your brothers.
Ooh.
Wipe them out, kill them. Basically, missile attacks destroying the entire South Korean territory. These are in posters that are right behind Kim Jong Un,
Wow.
and he's doing this. This means he was there while the ruling was being read out. So
Oh, it's happening at the same time. Wow.
the exact same time. So that means he wanted to send the message that he doesn't care what
Hmm.
happens, that he's got a policy of opposing South Korea, of telling South Korea it's ready to go to war with South Korea,
Yeah.
and that he's fully focused on that no matter what happens. So he was probably there watching this happen, and maybe someone whispered into his ear the ruling, I would assume, or he's looking at his
Wow.
phone or whatever.
Hmm.
But this means if Yoon was reinstated, the first thing he would have learned is Sir Kim Jong Un was guiding a South Korea attack simulation drill from the very first second that
Wow.
you were reinstated. Or now both
Yeah.
sides' candidates in the upcoming election are aware of, oh, North
Hmm.
Korea has this policy that's not going to change, this military development policy.
Gee.
So that's about it. Yeah.
Just for my linguistic interest there, Colin, do you? I don't have the photograph of that slogan in front of me. I don't know whether you do, but do you recall what word was used to say South Korean people? Do they say Hanguk Saramdul or Daehanminguk Saramdul or something?
Yeah. So let me zoom in here. It says 대한민국 족속들은 동족이
Choksok들은. Wow.
아니다. So that means the Republic of Korea clan
Hmm.
people, the gang people
Click.
are not, yeah, the clique are not your kin. And then the next
Uh-huh.
says 무자비하게 초토화하라. So
Wow.
burn them to what is it?
Yeah.
Wipe them out.
Wipe them
You
off
know,
the face of the earth.
yeah.
Interesting. So they're going with this Daehanminguk. It's once again a repeat of what we've seen in the last year and a half or so. That North Korea, in its in its state media and its state slogans, is quite prepared to use the official name of South Korea to refer to South Korea, which of course for decades it didn't. It would say Namchok whatever Gwerue Gun or something like that. But now it's just using Daehanminguk, which is interesting in itself, right?
Yeah, it's Kim Jong Un's policy of that he started from the first day of 2024, which is
Hmm.
opposing unification. He wants everyone to understand that these are two separate countries. You're never going to unify. You shouldn't look up to or towards the South Koreans as if they're ever going to be part of us as a people or as a country or as a
Yeah.
culture. And yeah, I mean, and then at the same time, he's talking about being prepared to go to war. Uh,
Mm.
I think the more kind of course, there's a lot of sensational reporting about what that means, is about him maybe attacking or invading South Korea. I think it's fine to interpret it a bit more generously to Kim Jong Un, and I think it means that his message is just don't mess with us because we are prepared for war, but
Yeah.
we would prefer it if you agreed with us and also considered us separate countries so we could stop with any kind of idea that maybe you're going to take over us, because we're telling you we're
Mm,
not going to take over you, but we will if we have to. Anyway, it's
right.
yeah.
Wow. And what interesting timing, too, happening during the impeachment ruling. Gosh. Okay. Well, that's where we're going to finish our short podcast episode today. So, Colin, Zwirko, thanks very much for coming on the show and telling us about the latest news.
Thank you, Jacco.
In the intricate world of Korean affairs, tailored intelligence makes all the difference. Korea Risk Group's consulting services offer specialized, actionable intelligence designed to guide your Korea-related decisions. We provide bespoke consulting services that cater to your unique challenges and goals. From policy analysis to market entry strategies, we bring clarity to complexity. Transform uncertainty into opportunity and visit koreapro.com solutions today. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our podcast episode for today. Our thanks go to Brian Betts and Alana Hill for facilitating this episode, and to our post-recording producer genius Gabby Magnuson, who cuts out all the extraneous noises, awkward silences, bodily functions, and fixes the audio levels. Thank you, and listen again next time.